Okay, let's just be honest. It is, 1 or 2 years post pandemic, and there was so much going on there. There was the pandemic starts, and then it's like pivot, pivot, pivot. What do we do? First, we were frozen before we even could pivot. But then it was pivot, pivot. I've got to try to figure this out. And every year that, things opened back up again didn't necessarily mean, oh, boom, we're back to normal. I mean, if you were in a facility, a studio or a gym, you may not have shut down a whole lot. If you were in charge of the business and maybe working out of your garage or figuring out a way to do it in person with people who did want to do it, maybe you operated more as normal. You even, because like recessions may have grown during recessions. It's where they say millionaires, billionaires, or trillionaires are birthed because they take advantage. They don't slow down. They pivot. They find a way. And because no one else did, there's more demand for you because you're out there. So here we are, 2023. What does that mean? We're at the end of it as I do this live. But in 2024, I think we can still be saying we've never been here before. We have never actually been here before. And so it gets a little hard if you've been in business and you are able usually to project, okay, X amount of growth based on we're going to make some changes, maybe add some new revenue streams, feed it a little bit more with some paid advertising, you can expect growth. Well, that has not been predictably comfortable in the last few years because it's been, oh my gosh, this year after post-pandemic is different and we haven't ever been here before. So we're going to potentially say that again and again, and online options are growing. So what does that mean for you? Ideally, it means you have an online option, but you could still be in person. You could still say, this is how I prefer to do it, but you are going to have to reach your people online. So you've got to have some presence there. So I have today, which is the meta of metas, I have 5 podcasts to help you start over. And then what I'm doing is relaying to you 5 podcast episodes that are sitting here as gold mines from some of key people in the fitness and health industry. And I highly encourage you to go and listen. Many of these are very short shorts. So as you know, a lot of times I will do an episode, say, with somebody, maybe specifically for fitness professionals, but a lot of times I will also do a recording with someone on the Flipping 50 podcast and then say, hey, do you have 10 more minutes? Will you come over? And let's talk about the things behind the scenes, how you got where you are, what it is that you're doing, and how you're building your business, because I know that you, listener, want that. So you've got a little mix of both, and I'm going to give you the 411 very quickly so you can actually go and listen to them. But these would be 5 podcasts that very specifically I engaged with these people and said, I'm providing some information to our health and fitness pros who are struggling to be found, be heard, be seen, and to get clients from those activities. What would you do if you were starting over? Really, that's the question I pose to all of them. So number 1, Bedros Keulian. If you've been in the fitness industry for 5 minutes, you should know him. Now, he's pivoted a little bit, so we may hear a little bit about him in the fitness industry and a little bit more about mindset. Because as you will find, almost anyone who's been in business for a period of time ultimately understands it is the mindset that you have that makes or breaks you. And they're turning around and saying, look, the sooner you learn this in your business, the better it's going to be. So what I want you to do is listen to him. And he is like, lay it down. This is how you start. This is what you need. But you really have to have this strength of mindset that this is going to work. And his story was like literally dumpster diving for food as a child. He grew up in poverty. And he is very, very adamant about how anyone can do this if he could. He was an immigrant. And, you're going to learn so much about grit and mindset. And when it has to happen, there's no option. So many times, this is the theme. If you're giving yourself a net, it's something you want to do, but you're keeping that job because of safety, it may never work. Just going to give you that. It may be a hobby. You may be doing some of those extra degrees and certifications just because, and it's a hobby too. And look, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're in it, knowing that. Okay. So Bedros Keulian is an American entrepreneur, a believer in the American dream. He and his family are immigrants who escaped communism and came to the United States to find freedom, opportunity, and a better life. And you better believe he did. I'll put the link to his show in the show notes for today. Next up is JJ Virgin. So triple board certified nutrition expert and fitness Hall of Famer. JJ Virgin is passionate and an advocate of eating and exercising smarter. JJ helps people stay fired up and healthy as they age so they feel the best they've ever at age 40 and beyond. And JJ, even in this last year, has rebranded, rebranded, remodeled the thought about her own business. She's going to have a new book coming out in 2024. She is really looking at how we talk about aging. She turned 60 this year. And so she is role modeling exactly what to do, why she focused on not weight loss or fat loss, but really focused on gaining lean muscle and gaining strength. But she also talks about what would she do? Who would she connect with? How would she do it? And what you will hear starting with her and moving right on to the next 3 people on the list, or the next 2 for sure, is community. So communicate. Keep your communication lines open. Make sure that you're responding when people reach you. And JJ will be one of the first to relay this message. So I want you to go and listen to that one. And if you're looking for a female role model who is, not 29, not 39, not even 49, she just turned 60, as proof that age is not a limit, she actually wrote her first New York Times bestseller and published it sitting bedside with her son, who had been in a tragic car accident and was given, a fraction of a percent to live and to be normal, and is. And, when I talk about the fact that it's sometimes that it has to work, there's no choice. Everything was on the line for her. And then this happened. You want to hear her story. Next up is an interview that I did with Sarah Cooperman. Sarah Cooperman is trained as a lawyer. She's CEO of SCW Fitness Education, Water in Motion, and SEAT, S-E-A-T, Fitness. And you may recognize more mania events that she has hosted and has since the 80s. She's a visionary leader in the fitness industry. And Sarah, I will remember one quote from our talk. It was, "Answer your emails." And she may have interjected some profanity there, but it was like, get back to people. If you want people's support, communicate, get back to people. When someone wants you or asks you something, respond. And we all know how hard that can be. Inboxes explode, and I completely understand it, but we have to stay on top of it. So again, however, the message is what? Communication. Communication matters. Next up is Natalie Jill, and there are 2 more. So Natalie Jill is a fat loss expert, or known as one, and a creative sales strategist who helps women reignite, redefine, and rebrand what aging has to mean. 50 years old herself, and that was last year. She's 51, I believe, maybe 52. She's changing conversations around age, potential, and possibility. So do you see a theme here? So women aging and aging up and up leveling as they're doing it, changing the way other women view and expect to age, and then do, and demonstrating it themselves. So one thing that I asked Natalie Jill, I mean, she is the meta. She is rediscovering herself. So known as a fat loss expert for over 15 years, she's now shifting gears. Proof that you can start over. Now, she still has an audience. She's targeting that same audience, but she is also really changing lanes to less talk about fitness, more talk about that's a vehicle for doing what you want to do. But let's look at, who do you want to be? How do you want to change your second half? So, of course, we love that message. Next up, and very last in this short list of top fives, is Steph Gaudreau. Steph is a strength and nutrition strategist and lifting coach who helps women fuel themselves smarter, get stronger, increase their energy, and perform better at the gym. She's the author of The Core 4, Embrace Your Body, Own Your Power, and the host of the Listen to Your Body podcast. And Steph, too, discussed, maybe not listening to everybody else, not taking advantage of every opportunity, but really being able to identify which opportunities, which ones should I really be going for. And I thank you so much for listening. I am Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to the She Means Fitness Business podcast, and that's a division of Voice for Fitness. And before you take off and go listen to any one of these podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, you'll find them on over 80 different platforms. So whether that happens to be Apple or it happens to be something else, you can also listen by clicking to the show notes page at Fitness Marketing Mastery. But I've done this coaching, marketing, and sales strategies, helping with the business side of things for more than 25 years. I, teaching at a university, saw we lose the good ones. I saw it firsthand as I was asked over and over again to write letters of recommendation, and then asked 2 years after graduation, when they had been out in the world, to write them again, but not because they were promoted, because they were convinced they couldn't make a living doing what they were doing. So I highly encourage you to reach out if you feel like you need some coaching, and we can talk about that. But before you do anything, reach out and get the Health and Fitness Professionals Scorecard, so you know at a glance, where do you have holes in your business? Why isn't it sustainable? You need to be continually pulling in new traffic, new people, so that when you are launching a program or coaching, you have people to talk to, and you will find a list of things that will tell you, here's exactly what you need. And maybe you'll be able to rank and see immediately where you need to improve. Okay, so show notes for today, so you can go right to clicking on any of these podcasts, will be at fitnessmarketingmastery.com. You start or start over. I hope that helps. This is the time to double down. It's the absolute best time to double down on what it is you're doing, what it is you want to do. Do a gut check. How bad do you really want this? Is this something that you just can't stop thinking about it? And take action. Okay, now your first action. Go and listen to these 5 podcasts. It won't take you long. It's probably an hour walk to hear them all. And you will have some inspiration, and I promise you, feel the overlapping message of communication, strong communication. Stay connected to the people that can help you. What are you waiting for? The world needs us right now, more than ever.